The other night we saw 80 for Brady, the movie about Tom Brady. Connor, what's the plot of Tom 80 for Brady?
Four old women can't figure out how to change the TV channel, so they catch a game of Tom Brady winning a football game in 2003 when he started as a rookie, as a second string rookie. And they say, we really like Tom Brady. Flash forward to 2017 and the lady who has cancer, this is a lady who has cancer, by the way, in 2003, but she's in remission, and the whole group says, let's see the Super Bowl and try to win this free Super Bowl tickets from our sports podcast we listen to. So they go to the 2017 Super Bowl, and then we see festivities before the Super Bowl, like when they meet Guy Fieri and some old man who...
They take drugs.
They take drugs, and they see an old man who was in the Super Bowl in like 1942 or something, and they're like, you're hot, we want to fuck you. And Tom Brady's hot, and we want to fuck him. And then it turns out the lady who has cancer, her cancer has come back. So there's an inspirational speech where she says, Tom Brady, you gotta win the Super Bowl, otherwise we're gonna lose. And the underdogs, the Patriots, who come up their 5 other Super Bowl wins, decide, due to cancer lady telling us we need to win our 6th consecutive Super Bowl, it's time to win the Super Bowl for an old lady who has cancer. And Tom Brady says, I think cancer's bad. And the old lady said, I think cancer is bad. Etc., 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 etc. And then they win the Super Bowl. Spoiler alert, but not really spoilers, because this all happened back in 2017 when the Patriots won their 850th consecutive Super Bowl. So Aiden, what do you think of the Patriots win the Super Bowl again? The movie. But cancer. And old people. And horny.
Well, it is horny. Put down.
What is wrong?
It's loud.
Okay, I'm done. That was the last one.
80 for Brady is a movie. It's not a funny movie. It's, it's for old people. The flying nun, is there.
Jane Fonda. All sorts of
Jane
people
Fonda.
who peaked in the 1960s, 70s.
Yeah, it's a bunch of people. And the pretty much the joke is this is just the Hangover for really old people.
Basically.
Where they go on wacky adventures and meet a bunch of celebrities and do drugs. It's not really funny. It's not offensive either. I think it's as decently well made as a comedy for 70-year-olds could be.
It made me chuckle once or twice. There were a couple chuckles in there.
Yeah,
the ladies were surprisingly decent actors considering they're fucking geriatric. They're true performers.
The whole cast is good. I think when Guy Fieri shows up, it made me laugh.
Guy Fieri,
not because it was funny,
the greatest character in the movie until the line.
Yeah, Guy Fieri just drops the whole strap-on thing.
Yeah, Guy Fieri says he gets stabbed in the ass with strap-ons all the time, which, I'm not judging, but what the fuck,
Yeah, I don't know, I don't care much for football. I don't know anything about Tom Brady except that he's allegedly getting divorced for fucking Jeffree Star or something.
Yeah, he's fucking Jeffree Star.
He's having sex with Jeffree Star allegedly behind his wife's back, and Jeffree Star is allegedly blackmailing him to quit football. I think the part of the movie that made me laugh the hardest is the ending scene where all the characters are like, I'm never going to retire, I just do my own thing forever. And then Tom Brady says I think I got a good few more years in me. And as it turns out, he retired in real life 2 days before this movie came out.
Yep.
Which is very, very embarrassing ending to the movie that he produced about himself.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like decently well made and it's kind of cute and it's not really funny, but it's not terrible either. It's really kind of a nothing movie for me where it's like just good enough to not be interesting and also kind of just like it not good enough to actually entertain me. It's plenty watchable, and there's probably some people who would love this if they're like big football old people, and they would get like the football humor. But for me, it's all kind of just outside of my interests. So despite the fact that it's like decently okay, it just doesn't do nothing for me. Connor, what'd you think of 80 for Brady?
80 for Brady is not the funniest comedy as you implied, but it's a relatively well done movie, and it got a couple chuckles out of me, and I could see if I was an older person who's a fan of Sally Field and all of those elderly women who were elderly and did stuff back in the day. I could see myself being intrigued by the movie. I know the movie's been popular with the elderly. And it's decently well made and it's pretty funny. And I looked into who made it, and it was actually directed and produced by the duo who starred in The Climb, who are two buddies who make films together. And The Climb was one of my favorite movies that came out during the coronavirus. I think
both
it
really
was
liked The Climb.
August 2020 perhaps. Something like that. It was like 5 or 6 months after Corona started. It was when theaters were kind of coming back to life and we had to get filler content, so throw in some crap.
You can
and it was
see
like a Fox Searchlight movie. And you can see that even though this movie was kind of more of a paycheck than a passion project by the Climb folks.
You can kind of see the DNA in there a little bit.
You can see the DNA. They were still funny. It was still clever. And while the movie wasn't made for a demographic that directly appeals to me, like perhaps The Climb was more of something that could have easily appealed to somebody like me and my tastes and sensibilities. They treated the women in this movie, though, in the twilight of their careers, with respect.
Yep.
And everybody was kind of funny for... I mean, the humor is a little neutered because it's for older people who probably don't want to hear super offensive jokes. This is like Hangover for the elderly. Aiden was right with the Hangover comparisons. They take edibles and they have minor sexual humor, which will be edgy to old people, but somebody in their 20s like us,
they meet a bunch of
not
random
necessarily going
celebrities,
to
like
be struck and falling back in our seats because Sally Field talks about having sex and takes a marijuana edible. There are celebrity guest stars all over the place, most notably Patton Oswalt,
Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri's like a central
Of course,
character.
a handful of football players, like, of course, Tom Brady.
Guy Fieri's like
Shea.
the Mike Tyson of this movie.
He is. He really is. Guy Fieri is essential.
He's the
plot
central
point of this
celebrity.
movie. Yeah, in a lot of ways.
More so than Tom Brady, really.
But there's the one lady, I can't remember her name, her character's name or her name, but it's the lady from Parks and Rec. There is.
Oh, right.
All sorts of people, like, there's a lot of, like, celebrity cameos. This is made for, like, old people who like sports. I'm not an old person. I don't like sports. I like movies and not having sex. So the big thing for me is looking at the quality of this movie. And I gotta say, the quality of this movie isn't incredibly terrible.
No.
The people behind it cared about the project. It doesn't feel like any of the stars were phoning it in. Everyone who made the movie was fairly passionate about it. Even the people who made The Climb, who I'm sure something like 80 for Brady wouldn't be their passion project based on The Climb. But they still gave it effort and managed to create something fun for the audience that this was catered to. So I don't think 80 for Brady is bad. I just think 80 for Brady is made for old people who want to see something that's edgy from the lens of old people.
Yep.
So Aiden, would you recommend 80 for Brady?
For the people who watch this channel, probably not. I don't imagine too many of you are into football or the elderly. But maybe take your grandparents. It's a little edgy, but safe enough for them. They'll have a good time, and they'll recognize.
It's edgy but safe. That is a good.
They'll recognize the
breakdown.
the old football people that I don't know.
And the old people.
If you have a grandpa who likes football, he'll probably really enjoy it. So maybe do a good thing, drag your grandpa out. But I think for most people, it's gonna fall in the same place as it did for me, where it's a decent movie that has virtually no appeal for me. I think a lot of the people in our audience are gonna feel roughly the same on that. I don't imagine we attract a lot of football fans.
Not a lot of elderly football fans watching NTMA Productions these days.
Yeah.
There might be one or two, and to you guys, I thank you. If you're a football fan and
Bless the Jerrys.
If you're a geriatric football fan and you watch NTMA Productions, I truly appreciate you.
God bless your service.
But I don't think most of our fans are most of our watchers are geriatric football fans. I don't think there's a big convergence there.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at our YouTube statistics more deeply to understand the correlations between NTMA Productions' shitty movie reviews and professional football and being geriatric. I would have to see how that pie chart works, or
That's a Venn diagram.
those butthole diagrams. I'd have to see how the butthole diagram works, but I don't think there's a big butthole. I don't think we're having a gaping butthole right now. I don't think there's any gaping butthole.
Anyway.
I don't think there's a big gaping butthole that says that that's common for us. So.
Would you recommend 80 for Brady?
Kind of like you. It is decently made. I'm gonna say no, but I am gonna hit it with the caveat that it's more something that I couldn't really, in good faith, recommend to the people who watch our channel. But I don't necessarily want to stress. I don't necessarily want to imply that the movie is bad, because I think the movie is pretty well made. It's just probably not for me or the people who watch our videos. So no, but that's not really a knock against the movie, which was decently well made.